Good morning, students. Today we are going to do the second part of Fire and Ice, a poem by Robert Frost. In this second part, we are going to discuss about the poetic devices. The first poetic device that I'm going to discuss here is symbolism. The poem is all about symbols of fire and ice. The fire and ice, they symbolize not just fire, not just heat and cold, but it's also something else. When the poet associates fire with desire and ice with hate. So what is the symbol of fire here? It is for fire it is desire, and for ice it is hate. We know that fire and ice are symbols of human behaviors and emotion, and this fire and ice, they are the two extreme behaviors found, the negative behaviors found in human beings. And what is that? One is greed, or you can say one is avarice, and the other the strong desire, and the other is hatred, and both of these are enough to bring an end of the world. Some say the world will end in fire. Now here the world, in this line, some say the world will end in fire. The world here also symbolizes it's not just the world that we are talking about, this earth that we are talking about, but the poet appears to mean the world as an individual, that is his life as well as the civilization. So the world here, it stands for our life, that it is because of the desire, unending desire and hatred, that we will finish off our life, we will end our life. And it also means the world or the earth or the civilization. So these three words, the fire, ice and world, they symbolize not only the word that they are representing, but they have a deeper meaning. Now the desire is a symbol of passion. Now what is desire? Desire symbolizes the passion that a person has. Now we come to the next one, and that is metaphor. Where is the metaphor used here? Metaphor, fire and ice, is a metaphor for the desire and hatred. So fire and ice, they are also a metaphor. Now what is a metaphor? A metaphor is a comparison of two unlike things without the use of like and as. So here fire and ice is also a metaphor for desire and hatred. It is a kind of an extended metaphor. What is an extended metaphor? A comparison that runs throughout the poem. In the whole poem you have this comparison that is called an extended metaphor. So this fire and ice, they also stand for the poetic device here is the metaphor, because they stand, it's a comparison to hatred, and it is also, the fire is a comparison to the burning desire and ice to the cold hatred. So here this word fire and ice, they also stand for the metaphor. Now we come to the next one, that is anaphora. Now what is anaphora? The repetition of a word or a phrase at the beginning of the successive line. So what is anaphora? That when the same word or a phrase starts the next first line and the second line and the third line, when they start with the same words or the same phrase, it is called anaphora. Like here the example of anaphora is, I'll show you in the book what it is, the example of anaphora. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. So the first line is starting with some say the world will end. The second line also starting with some say in ice. So the repetition of this line, some say and some say, in two different lines, beginning, starting, the line is starting with these two words, both the lines are starting with these two words. So this is called an anaphora. So here we have got the example of anaphora. The next that we come to, alliteration, the repetition of the initial sound of the same in the same line or stanza. Now what is alliteration? Alliteration is the repetition of the sound especially the consonant sound, in the same line or the same stanza. And here what is the example of it? Some say. Now if you look into the book, you will find some say ice. Now here the word some say. This word, the repetition of the sound S and S, the consonant sound S and S, it is an alliteration. Then we also have in this line, I hold with those who favor fire. Favor fire. The repetition of the sound, the consonant sound of F and F. This is an example of alliteration. Now we come to assonance. What is assonance? Assonance is the repetition of the vowel sound in the same line, such as the long sound of O. Now what is assonance? Assonance is the repetition of the vowel sound in the same line, the long vowel. Now here we have got the example, I hold those who favor fire. Now we look into the book, I hold those who favor fire. So hold, the long O, hold those, O long O, who favor. So all the repetition of the sound O in this and the O in this and the O in who and the O in favor, this is called assonance. This is a classic example of assonance. Now the next one that we come to is imagery. Imagery is used to make readers perceive things involving their five senses. When we use our five senses to imagine the words that are being written, that is called imagery. Example, some say the world will end in fire. Now when this line is say, what comes into our mind? What is the image that comes into our mind? The image is that the whole world is burning in fire. To say that for the destruction ice is also great. Destruction ice, that means either the world is burning, it is burning in the hot fire, the leaping flames, or it is getting dead. The world is dying because of the freezing temperature and the ice all over. So this gives us an imagery, this gives us an imagination. The words here, they bring up an image in our mind. We use our eyes, we use our mind to form this image. So here this is an imagery. This line, can some say the world will end in fire? This can also be an imagery. Now we come to personification. Fire and ice are example of personification also. They are example of destruction. The poet personifies fire and ice by giving them a mind which is capable of destroying almost anything. So what is personification? Personification is when a non-living thing has the quality of a human being or a living being, it's called personification. Now what the poet has done here, that the poet has given the quality of destruction to fire and ice, that the fire and ice, they have got a mind of their own and they are using their mind to bring an end of this world. So this is personification. The next one that we are going to come to is enjambment. What is enjambment? It is defined as a thought or clause that does not come to an end at a line break. Continuous, there is no comma, there is no full stop, but without any punctuation mark, it carries on to the next line, rather it moves over the next line. So without any full stop, without any comma, it moves over to the next line. And here what I have given is, from what I have tasted of this, from what I have here in the book, you can see, from what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. Now you will find in the book that there is no full stop comma here. Some say the world will end in fire. No full stop, no comma. It continues up to the next line. Some say in ice. There is a full stop here. But the next line, from what I have tasted of desire, there is no comma here. There is no full stop. There is no punctuation mark. And the thought runs into the next line. I hold those who favor fire. So this is an example of enjambment. That means when there is no punctuation mark and it is continued in the second line, that becomes an enjambment. And you will find this in the whole of the poem, that this line, I hate, I know, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. Now here, in the first line you have a comma here, but nowhere else. After hate you don't have any punctuation mark, after ice you don't have any punctuation mark, and also after great you do not have. At the end you have a full stop. So when it is a continuity in continuity without any punctuation mark which is carried on, it's called an enjambment. Now we come to the rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme of this poem is, of the entire poem is A, B, A. So this is fire A, ice B, desire A. You can see here that first line ends in fire, so we put it as A. Then the second line ends in C, ice. So this ice and fire do not rhyme together, so we are putting the next alphabet to it, that is B. The third line ends with desire, which is same like fire, so we put it as A, B, A. Now the next line is fire again. So we copying from fire, we had put it A, so we are putting for fire, again we will put for fire A. Now then we come to next line is what? Twice. The word, the next line is twice, and this twice again we mark it as B, and then we hate. This also does not match. So this becomes A, B, C, because fire does not match. Twice it's not matching with this is the first word in the line. So I mean in the first line it is the last word. So A we put it. Then twice it's not matching with fire, so we put it B. Hate is not matching with twice, so it is not matching with fire, so we put it C. So these three lines, they become A, B, C. Now the next three lines, what are they? They are ice, we put it as B. Then great, we put it as C, and then suffice. So this becomes B, C, B. So the first three lines, they are A, B, A. The second three lines are A, B, C, and the last three lines are B, C, B. And this is what your rhyme scheme is. I have already talked about the extended metaphor. Refers to the comparison that continues throughout a series of sentences. So what is an extended metaphor? An extended metaphor is a comparison that throughout the poem you get it. The reference of it is throughout the poem. Like we have, Frost is comparing fire and desire to ice and hatred in the lines 3 and 4. I hope this is clear and you'll be able to understand this.